Welcome to the Nature Photo Guys podcast,
where we talk about nature photography, from gear to our philosophies and everything in between.
So grab a cup of coffee, sit back and relax.
You're listening to Joe Desjardins
and Chris Gibbs, the Nature Photo Guys.
Hey Chris, how are we doing today?
Good, Joe. How's it going?
Not too bad.
Good.
What have you been up to these last, couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, actually, I got out. So I finally was able to get out and took a day and drove around, the west side. Went up Smith Dorian, went to Lake Minnewanka.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to check my Facebook or Instagram, there's a kind of a good example of what we were talking about last podcast as well with neutral density filters. I did actually a 3-second long exposure. So
okay, cool.
You can catch that there. And so if anybody wants to have another look at that. And yeah, right, it was a beautiful, beautiful day. And like 2 days later, the snow hit and,
You must have went midweek then.
I did. Yeah. It was on Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It was beautiful. So, unfortunately there wasn't too much wildlife out. I was really early as well. Saw a couple deers, but really nothing else. So, I drove past the Rock Glacier and it was just totally covered in snow.
Yeah.
So
okay. Cool.
And,
they're going to be closing the Highwood there December 1st, right? So.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So actually, it's not a bad place to find ptarmigan, though. White ptarmigan.
Right.
Right at the top of the pass there. So.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll be seeing near the end of November, especially if there's a lot of snow. You'll see photographers up that way on snowshoes. Looking for them down there. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I actually drove on Smith Dorian. I pulled into the Chester Lake parking lot.
Yeah.
I was the only vehicle. How many times have you been there that you're the only vehicle?
No.
I couldn't believe it.
Never.
Yeah, never.
I went last year snowshoeing on a hike.
Right.
There, and I showed up right at first light. I was the only one there.
Okay.
And then I started up. I broke trail, because it's been snowing quite heavily and stuff.
Yeah.
But by the time I came back and left, the parking lot was full.
Oh yeah, of course.
I passed so many people on my way back, but I was the first one up, right? So
sure, yeah, exactly.
But it's never not full.
I know. I was really shocked. It was full of snow and really icy, but
it was midweek too.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm talking weekends and stuff like that.
Oh, of course,
so, yeah. It's always busy. It's a great little hike there up to Chester Lake. So
yeah, exactly. So what have you been doing?
Well, I was going to get out this past weekend, but it was only snowing, wind gusts of up to 70 kilometers an hour. Visibility was probably 0.
Well, that's no fun.
It was
waiting in a shoot there.
Really crappy weekend. So it was a good time to stay in,
Yeah, exactly.
Do some editing and whatever else, right?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. So what are we going to talk about this week?
Well, we promised everybody last episode that we're going to talk about graduated neutral density filters.
Cool. Yeah, because last week we did NDs, neutral densities.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a natural progression, I think.
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I guess what we should do, Chris, is describe or explain what a graduated neutral density filter is.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, so like last week's episode, when we talked about neutral density filters, we explained that what it does is it's a piece of glass that's got, it has that tonality of, 18% gray kind of thing, right?
Right.
So there's no color cast or anything. All it does is block out light.
Right.
That's
hence
all
the
it
neutral,
does.
right? There's no
Hence
color
the
cast.
Neutral.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And it blocks out so many stops of light, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What a neutral density filter does is it affects the entire scene.
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with a graduated neutral density filter like this here, okay, here's the top, here's the bottom, okay, and you can see a gradual, right, blocking of light to no light at all. And if you can see, okay, it's soft. It's not a hard line for transitions. It's a soft transition. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And what we normally do with filters like this is when we're trying to balance the exposure from a really bright sky to a darker foreground, or a brighter foreground to a darker sky, because you can't use these filters upside down.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say, for instance, we're exposing for the foreground. So we got nice detail on the foreground, color and everything. But if we do, it's going to blow out the sky. So what we do is we drop one of these filters in, and this is a 3-stop ND. So what it's going to do is it's going to help balance the sky with the foreground. So we have more of an even exposure. Okay.
Right.
Now, in this case here, this is a 3-stop. I do have a 2-stop. Okay.
Okay.
And then I also have a 1-stop. Okay. So if you can see that okay there, you can see how much lighter it goes lighter, darker to the darkest, right?
Yes, that's right.
Now, if 3 stops isn't enough, right? You can actually stack these two. Now you see how dark that's getting, right? Okay. That's 5 stops of neutral density. The one here, now we got 6.
Perfect. So it's exactly like your neutral density filters. You can stack them. You can do the same thing with the grad.
That's right. That's right. Now I've never had to use 6. You know what I mean? It's not,
no, me either.
It's never had to. It's never been that much difference in like the dynamic range, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But I just want to show you guys that that's what's available.
It is possible. You can definitely.
It is possible for sure. And between a 1, 2, and a 3, that's plenty. Honestly, if I were to just buy 1 or 2 filters, it'd be a 2 or a 3-stop. I wouldn't even bother with a 1. A 1 really doesn't.
No, that's what I have is a 2-stop, right?
Yeah,
so I've
exactly.
Yeah.
So if you had to make a decision, maybe just a 2-stop. I tend to use a 3-stop more, but just to get started, see if that's something you want to do. Okay, so now, so we use the same holder as we would with the polarizing filter and put our ND filter in, right?
That's right. Yep.
Only, we'd slide in our grad filter into here. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll just do that just to show you guys. Okay. And then what you do is now you bring it down and line it up according to where, let's say, the horizon line is, or whatever it is that you want to balance, right? Whether it's some mountains or it's the edge of a lake, where there is a mountains, something like that, right? Like whatever you're trying to balance.
Yeah, the bright area in the scene that's
right.
You're trying to counterbalance basically.
And the beauty part of these two, while it's on the holder, is that you can actually spin it. So let's say it's a mountain, okay, and it's coming across the scene like this. Well, then now you can just adjust the grad filter like this, right? Okay.
Exactly.
So you can turn it any way you want. Okay. Now, that's why it's important to have that circular polarizer.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
That's attached either to the front of the system, like on the Lee, or to the case system here where I have this dial here. So in case I do move it like this, I can still balance and get the proper polarization I want along with this.
That's right. Because at times when you're spinning that around, you may forget. So you got to remember to do that extra step.
That's right. So now I can properly balance my polarizing filter and my grad filter.
Right. Because they work independently of each other, basically.
That's right. That's right. So that's a grad filter. I mean, it's, there's not much to it. I mean, there's, we're not trying to make it things difficult to use. It's just, that's all it is, Yeah,
I agree.
And whether you use them or not, that's totally up to you. There are times, I'll admit, when I'm in the field and I get lazy and the sky isn't all that bright. So I'll either do 2 things, I'll expose 1 image for the sky, 1 image for the foreground, and then blend, right?
Yes. Yep.
Or I'll cheat in Lightroom and I'll use the graduated ND filter in Lightroom. And basically what you do is you just drag and drop the filter down from the top of the frame down to where you want it. And then the middle, you can adjust. There's another line in the middle that you can adjust up and down for the transition and the softness.
That's right. Yes.
And then you can use the sliders to adjust, brightness, contrast, sharpness, highlights, shadow. Like you can do anything you could according to the image, only for the sky. That's
right. Yep. The only thing that I've noticed in the past is that if you've overblown, like if you've completely overexposed the sky, the good thing about the grad filters is that there's detail in the sky. You can bring that back in Photoshop or Lightroom. If you bring that graduated filter into Lightroom, and you're really bringing the detail back where there's no detail anymore because you've blown it out. So with the grad filter, it brings the detail back, and then you have a little bit more fine tuning in Lightroom.
Yeah, because if you do blow out the highlights and then you try and use the Lightroom filter, ND filter, or graduated ND filter, and you drag it down, all it's showing you is a gray transition.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's no detail to bring out. So all it's doing is darkening the top and lightening to the bottom, and
That's right.
it looks pretty obvious.
Yes, it does look
So,
pretty obvious,
especially
for
with
sure.
wicked skies and everything else, that's where that filter in Lightroom really works, really excels.
Well, and I know that some people are, going away from these scenarios, and I know there's a bunch of people out there that are doing kind of the high dynamic range, the HDR kind of stuff, or bracketing. Like you said, you raise that same scenario. If you're sitting there in golden hour and you want to expose to your scene and the sky, or bring the stars in, you can't do that in one shot. You're going to have to, build a composite, right? So you're going to have to do the 2 shots. So some people are doing that, I guess, as well. But I still like the old fashioned, put the grad in there, and then I have more control over it once I do get into the post-processing process.
Just think of all the detail you're capturing with that.
That's right.
That grad filter, where you might not any other way. And that's it. So it's just like when you're exposing an image, right? You know, you're trying to find a neutral area. So, or a neutral exposure, a nice solid exposure. So you have detail in the highlights and detail in the shadows.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So we talked about the Lightroom, or, Photoshop with the built-in grad filter, right?
Right.
And what you can do with that. And then we talked about the graduated neutral density filter soft edge.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
But there's a filter that you use also, right?
I do.
A different type?
I do. It's a hard grad. And that's basically, the transition isn't as smooth. It's basically a hard grad. So it's dark to light. It's really like cut and dry. There's just a hard edge. So I would use those, for example, at the ocean, where there's basically your horizon line is a definite contrast between the sky and the water. It's right across your entire scene. That's where I would use that. Where most of the other times, if there's other mountains or anything else in there, that's when I would use the soft grad for that one, because it's more of a transition, right?
That's right. Because with the soft grads, you can turn them and everything else. With a hard grad, you can't.
No, if you turn it, you're going to see that.
You're going to see a definite oops in the exposure, right? So if we were to suggest, what to buy for general landscape photography, it would be a soft grad.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. The only time I ever really use the hard grads is vacation. At the ocean, on vacation. That's really truth. Yep. That's exactly right.
That's right. So I've never purchased the hard grads, just mainly because of the type of shooting I do, right?
Sure.
So which is pretty much mountain scenes and that sort of thing, right? So but I mean, I think it's again, we always talk about getting it right in camera. And with these graduated neutral density filters, you can do that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it brings back the detail, right? That you may not be able to bring back in software.
Oh, and just to compound on what you just said, then you're not spending all that time in front of the computer also. That's true. Right?
Yeah.
Trying to reproduce what an ND filter would have done in the first place.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's all about spending more time in the field, less time in front of the computer. So
exactly.
So yeah, that's pretty much it, I think, right?
I think so too. Yeah, I agree.
So you can see, guys, like our filter kits are fairly minimal, right? We have a polarizing filter, we have an ND, and we have them in different stops, right? Like 3 stop, 6 stop, and a 10 stop. And then we have our graduated ND filters, which is one's a 1 stop, 2 stop, and a 3 stop.
That's right.
And remember, you can stack all of these. You want to stack all 6 filters on top of that polarizing filter? Have fun. Whatever. Like, you want a 2-hour exposure? Have fun.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
But seriously, you don't need a huge kit. I mean, you could start with the holder, the polarizing filter, a 3-stop ND, and maybe a 2 or 3 stop graduated
soft
ND.
grad.
That's it. Yeah, soft grad. That's
I agree.
You can get away with 3 filters. And heck, if you don't want to go with these filters we talked about today, then just get yourself the holder, the polarizing filter, and a 3 or 6 stop ND filter. That's it. And start from there.
That's true. I agree, Joe. Yep.
Yeah. So guys, that's basically the filters we carry in the field when we do landscape photography. I mean, there's really not many more that you could really add to the kit.
Well, and there, I have seen some out there. There's, a white grad filter that adds mist to your scene and stuff like that. But really, I mean, when are you going to use that? And I'd rather capture what I see in the field, not fake it out, in my opinion, right? So, I mean, everybody's got different opinions, and there's lots of creative techniques you can use. And hey, have at her if you enjoy that, no problem.
Well, if you're creating art,
oh yeah, for sure,
you
that's
know,
fun.
then absolutely, these filters have a place in everything.
Oh,
you know
absolutely,
what I mean?
they do. Yeah.
But my style of photography is basically kind of what you see is what you get. Now, I am manipulating the scene, right? So if I'm using an ND filter, you don't see water like that with the naked eye.
No, but you know, yeah, I agree.
So, so you are manipulating the scene, right? So whether it's a waterfalls, you don't see that soft, pillowy stuff coming down.
No,
you know?
fair enough.
You know, when you got white caps coming at you, and then you do like a 30-second exposure and it looks like glass, you don't see that with your eyes.
No,
right?
that's true. Yeah, that's fair.
So you are manipulating.
That's more the fine art side in a way, right?
That's right. That's right.
But the way I look at it is, when I'm standing alongside a landscape I'm trying to capture, I try to bring it to something that I actually envision while I'm standing there, you know, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what I like to do anyway. It may not be the exact scenario that's there at the moment, like you said, but it's still something that I feel that I feel for it, right? So it's I enjoy doing that myself. Yes, it's a nice capture as well, but like that shot I took at Lake Minnewanka, you know, even it's a 3-second long exposure, the water's calm. Well, if I just took that snapshot, the water wasn't calm, like we've talked about before, right? But the image actually looks, to me, a lot nicer than the other image that could have
that's
been.
it. Like, so it's what appeals to you.
Yeah.
So with
personal opinion.
let's say with waterfall shots, okay?
Yeah.
For me to go up and take a well-exposed capture, you know, 1/500th of a second, I'm going to capture every water. I'm going to capture what I actually see with my eyes, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. But that doesn't appeal to me.
That's right.
As a photo. Okay. So that's why I'm introducing polarizing filter and an ND filter to create something that does appeal to me.
That's right.
Now, I've actually heard photographers say they don't like that soft, pillowy kind of waterfall shot. They rather capture the way they, the way they see it. And so that's awesome. That appeals to them.
That's right. Yeah.
So again, we're getting into this whole things that are subjective.
Well, it's totally subjective and opinionated, but as long as you're happy with what you're creating for yourself and improving yourself and your own skills and enjoying what you're doing and envisioning what you're creating, then have at her. I mean, everybody's got a different opinion, and
just
that's
make
great.
yourself happy. Just make yourself happy.
Yeah.
Right. Make yourself happy. Don't worry about what everybody else wants or says. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll enjoy the process a lot more.
I've learned that a long time ago. I used to take photos and get critiques and all that. And I love critiques because that's the only way to improve, in my opinion. Right. But, at the end of the day, there's going to be people that love your photo and people that don't love your photo. But as long as you love your photo, that to me, that's all that matters. Right.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. It's all good. So, but cool. I think that pretty much wraps up filters.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to carry too many filters because, man, your backpack's going to be pretty heavy for you, though.
Well, and that's it. Like, we're trying to minimize what we carry, right?
Yeah.
So realistically, if I'm backpacking, I'm not carrying a camera bag. I'm carrying my G9, 2 small wide angle lenses, right?
Yep.
Might be the holder, and it might actually only be a polarizing filter.
That's right.
To be honest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's about it. I might throw in an ND, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
If I'm going hiking and looking for waterfalls or something like that.
Yeah, you don't want to be too heavy there, right?
But so again, it's just minimizing what you have. But
I mean, that's what people are doing with big DSLRs, getting the smaller mirrorless cameras, right? That's the whole concept, travel light.
Because they're just as good.
Because they're just as good. Yeah,
that's the whole idea, right? So.
Exactly. And I guess at the end of the day, there are nice cases that you can buy to to keep your grads in and neutral density filters in as well. We both have kind of same scenario. They got sleeves where you can put them in, right?
I mean, so here's the case. I'll show you guys really quick. So I'm just going to zip it up the way it's supposed to. So again, these are case filters. Okay. So here's my case. I'm just going to back up a little bit. Okay. Gonna move the mic.
Your case.
A case. You got her. So when you open the front, this is where I keep my holder, right?
Nice. Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So it fits right into there. And then the middle portion here, once you unzip it, you can see I don't know if you can see that okay.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But there's my ND or my grads. I got extra filter rings at the back here for the different size lenses. I got my NDs here.
Nice.
I got my polarizing filter here, and it's a nice little compact case, right?
One-stop shop.
Well, and that's it. And then then it's this little strap here at the back. So this actually just goes around my tripod.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
It just hangs right there, right? So
Oh yeah,
I can use what I need, right? So
nice.
But yeah, it's nice, compact, everything's in there, and away you go, right?
Mine's similar as well. I mean, it's the same concept. I mean, it's just basically, open it up, everything's in there,
Perfect,
nice and easy. Just slide them in.
Yeah,
they're there. I don't have a nice hook or anything to hang on mine, but they're all right there. But I do the same thing. I keep all my all my rings in here, everything's there, right?
Exactly.
So it's the only thing with this scenario is that I do have to keep my leaf filter system in a separate case, so I don't have the same scenario. But it's exactly the same. So, but it's nice to have everything in one location, so you don't, it's not all over the place, because these things are expensive. And you don't want them to break. You want to protect them as well too. So,
well, yeah, and before I used to have like my grads in a cloth bag. Yeah. And then I had another bag for my holder. Then I had another tin container for my 6-stop, another tin container for my 10-stop. Like everything was just in kind of in a big,
just thrown in,
just thrown into the camera bag. So the nice little system like this, and you can get like that bag you got. I think you got off Amazon.
I did, yeah. I found it on Amazon one day, and
that's right.
It works great. I mean, it's good for what I need anyway. So
that's right. So if whatever filter kit you use doesn't come, with anything like that, it's like a $20 buy or something off Amazon. Yeah. So it's pretty cheap. So
exactly, because I mean, like the leaf filters come with, like you said, the tin cans and all that, but they're too cumbersome to carry around. So it's easier having everything just nice and protected in cloth, and it's easier to quick access to everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. So cool. Yeah. Okay, Chris. So I think we'll wrap things up.
Sounds good.
Any news you need to share before we go, or?
I don't think so. No, there's nothing going on right now. I mean, hey, keep listening to our podcast and follow us on YouTube. We're starting to get a bit of a following on YouTube there. So great. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate that. So
click like and subscribe, right?
Yes, that's for sure.
It's what every YouTube videoer says, is that a word? Videoer,
right? No. The more you subscribe and like, it just helps us keep posting these, right? So.
Yeah, you betcha. So I got one thing to bring up. My 2021 Wild Canada calendar is available for purchase. And if you want to go to joedesjardins.ca, and right at the top, the link on the far left is 2021 wildlife calendar. So if you guys want to take a look at that, they're $20 each Canadian, plus I think about $5 shipping, up to 2 calendars anywhere in North America. And you're good to go. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys took a look. And
anybody, you got to go look at this calendar. It is beautiful. Like, I've seen your calendar. I buy it every year, and hey, yours is hanging on my wall right now. I'm looking at it right now from this year. So you got to get this calendar.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's something I love to do. I like, reviewing images from past year and stuff like that. Sometimes I pick, 1 or 2 from previous years and that, but, I try and keep a certain theme going. And I just love to do it. So if you guys have any questions, you can order online through my website, or send me a message, send me an email, joe@joedesjardins.ca, and we'll hook you up.
Perfect. That's great, Joe.
Okay, Chris. So I guess we'll just finish things off with that.
Okay.
And looking forward to our next podcast. We're not going to let you guys know what it is, but it probably has something to do with the season coming up. Why don't we just leave it at that?
That's a good hint. There you go.
It's a good hint. Snow.
You got to tune in to see what it is, right?
Snow.
Teaser.
Cold.
Yeah, exactly.
So we might just talk about some of those challenges, but we'll leave it at that, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining us on the Nature Photo Guys podcast. If you have any questions, contact us at info@thenaturePhotoGuys.ca or message us on Facebook and Instagram at the Nature Photo Guys podcast. Visit YouTube and subscribe to our channel to watch all our latest videos, or follow and listen to our latest podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on our website at thenaturePhotoGuys.ca. We'll catch you next time on the Nature Photo Guys podcast.